We're here with the great actress Tyne Daly. It's a real pleasure to interview somebody who understands the role of women in politics, the role of women in fighting the glass ceiling, and talking today on this night when the president gives his speech to the Democratic National Committee here in the great city of Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk with you.
Give me your thoughts about what you felt on Monday night when you heard Michelle Obama. Your thoughts as a woman who has been involved in shows that has, moved the needle, and how this is now a time, hopefully, that women and minorities start taking in major steps for their lives and their families.
Well, we've been taking the steps for a very long time. This morning I was just at the Women's Caucus, which that room has changed a lot in the last 40 years.
Right.
So we're at the center of the conversation now rather than on the side of it, which is good because I'm still hoping that in my lifetime I will get to be a full citizen of the United States of America. I'm hoping for full citizenship someday, and I'm willing to work for it. My grandpa was a progressive Methodist minister, and there's a history in my family of participation. You can't grouse about it if you don't participate.
Right.
So I participate in my capacity. In the storytelling capacity as an actor, I've had some really good chances to tell women's stories. But my grandpa used to say, the ministry and the theater and the law are all the same thing. The one who tells their story most convincingly wins.
That's too funny. How did that influence your, the Methodist upbringing? How did that influence your acting career? How did it influence your life?
Well, it's, you come from where you come from. I wasn't brought up as a Methodist particularly. My parents had a mixed marriage. He was a fallen Catholic. Big deal then.
Sure.
I remember what a big deal it was about JFK's Catholicism. I was 12. I had a ribbon and a little plastic voter. Couldn't vote yet, but we could do our bit. I think we were brought up to do our bit, and I think that the Democratic Party, with all of its flaws, is still the inclusive party, rather than, there's a mindset that's going on here. One mindset says, we'll tell you all what to do. We're the more expert. We know what we're doing. We're a little exclusive club, and we'll trickle it all down to you and let you know what to do.
Sure.
The other mindset says, we're all in this together. We have to include everybody that's got energy and talent. We're not going to waste any talent, and we're going to use that to make this country fulfill its promises.
The other night in Tampa, a colleague of yours, Mr. Clint Eastwood, went a little bit off the rails from my perspective, and he wasn't exactly prepared, I think, for what he was supposed to do, talking to a chair, which is not an easy thing to do to begin with. Were you surprised? Were you embarrassed for him? I interviewed your colleague, Bo Bridges, the other day, and sort of a little bit trying to be respectful to his colleague, and obviously all the great work that Clint Eastwood has done as a great actor. How do you think about that? What do you feel about that?
I don't want to beat up on Clint. He was very good to me. He was a good boss in the most traditional paternalistic way, but he allowed me to be part of his movie. When I was offered that film, this woman in the film was nothing but a cartoon. She was just a cartoon, and I turned him down, which, you're not supposed to do that.
Not easy to turn down Clint Eastwood.
And they said, well, would you like more money? And I said, no, thank you. And then I turned him down again. They offered me more money. And finally, we had a meeting. And he said, what's the matter with you? Why don't you want to be in my movie? And I said, because she's not a person. And he let me make her into a person, which is why guys, with tattoos on their cheeks and motorcycles come up to me and are sad that I got killed in that movie. Because she was a person. If she hadn't been a person, it would have just been a joke. So I respect him. We had a good time together. But we also improvised a little bit in 1976, a couple of scenes. And it's not really his strong suit. Nor mine either. Yeah, improvisation is not his strong suit. That's why I think that's fair.
That is fair. I think that very much was evident. We're talking with Tyne Daly here, great actress and great actor, and this is, you talk about the full citizenship and you talk about where we have going. There are a lot of women here today who are 20 years old, and they look at the fights that you fought.
No, they don't.
Well, that's the problem.
No, they forget they're young. When I was young, when we were young, our whole message was move over, old fools. We're going to take over and make it all correct. And it doesn't happen that quickly, and it doesn't happen that easily. I think the big lesson for me of 60 years of being a citizen is that, laws can be made and they can be unmade. So depending on who's making the laws, who you decide represents you in the big, crazy, bureaucratic, choked town of Washington, D.C., that really, our futures depend on that. You have to be careful. You have to make your choices with some sort of information.
I talked to us this morning with the head of national organization, NARAL, Abortion Rights Action League, and Ms. Keenan, who's no longer in her 20s or 30s, looks at the idea of getting young women engaged, and she said that the foibles of Mr. Aiken, the Missouri Senate candidate, who said that women have some special powers to avoid having babies, and and then the whole thing with Virginia and probing women's private parts, has actually helped galvanize a lot of people who are apolitical. Do you sense that amongst 20-somethings, that what has happened because of these outrageous claims and legislation in the case of Virginia has opened the door for people to say, this is ridiculous, I can only vote for one guy because this other people are trying to infiltrate me? Well,
ignorance gets exposed, and it doesn't win. And certainly we do have superpowers. That's why we should be enlisted as part of a full part of this country. Right. I have grown up. I have daughters. I have 3 daughters. They're all grown-ups. I have 3 granddaughters and 1 grandson, and I'm really here for him. I'm here for him because I think that when this country fulfills its promises, it'll be a much better place for him.
Final question. This whole thing of women for Obama, Michelle Obama the other night, again, a great performance. Your thoughts about why women should vote for the president, and how important it is voting for a president who has a very strong woman by his side, Michelle Obama?
Well, because we're in the conversation, in the second, what we call the second wave of feminism, we're finally at the center of the conversation. And Mr. Obama is an always inclusive speaker, so he knows that that's part of what's needed. There's too much cheap labor in this country, and we can't work it that way anymore. So I think that he's laid a foundation that's very good. He pulled us back from the brink of disaster and has already started addressing the things that supposedly only women care about. I think everybody cares about it. Their basic health and security, their ability to work at whatever they want to work at, their ability to love whoever they want to love. Those things are central to this country, and he's laid the foundation, and I think he should get to finish the job. I also think it's one of the geniuses of this country that we throw out the top guy every 8 years. That's what, there aren't kings.
Yeah.
So when people talk about Obamacare as if it's up to that one man has made a declaration, that's not how it works. But how it does work is by all of the tough stuff he's managed to insist upon in Washington with a great deal of resistance. So it's not just him. I mean, you should vote for your state senator and your congressman. You should involve yourselves on the level all the way up. But certainly, I think he's a brilliant and graceful and smart man, and that's what I want in a leader.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it very much.
Did I talk too much?
No, I mean, it's fantastic.